Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one, coming to you with the Friday market update and also the monthly close update as we just finished the month of September here. So are stocks still shaped up well for the next 3 months, the remainder of the year here, and potentially positioned well into 2024? Or are they potentially losing too much ground? We will take a look at that. Take a look at our major indexes, our major tech names, and lastly, my portfolio. Had a great week in the portfolio, guys. Was able to close a lot of positions here at a profit, and we're coming into next week with pretty much full buying power. So quite excited to keep making the most of these discounts, guys. So as we can see, Friday here today, what did we have? We had SPY down 0.24% as we did retrace a good part of the day after a morning gap up. QQQ up 0.07%, and the rest of our indexes actually quite red. So take a look at the heat map here, guys. You will see that major tech was responsible here for keeping QQQ alive, but the rest of the market not having fun at all. Healthcare and financials down substantially here, and a nice little pullback on energy as well. Now, on the one-day relative here, you can see, guys, that once again, pretty much red across the board. The ones that did perform well, technology and consumer cyclical, I'll remind you, cyclicals responsible largely by Amazon and Tesla here. They were in the green, real estate utilities ever so slightly, but the rest in the red. And on the 1 week relative, once again, despite the recent drop on energy here in the past, whoops, that's never happened before. Despite the most recent drop on energy here, we did have a pretty red week with utilities pulling back an astounding 6.5% here, right? So on the 1 month relative, you guys can see that the month of September now being over, everything was red, but that's no surprise to those of you that follow the market pretty regularly. September was a very bad month as a whole. You can see down here the percentages here. So where do we stand, guys? Well, let's take a look, guys. Let's break this down on every single time frame, including the monthly. So what were we looking for here, guys? On Thursday's video, you will see if I can get my little brush going here. So we were looking for the size of the bounce, even though that we did close slightly down here on Friday. This was a lower close than Thursday's, right? So we still are on a slight little upswing here. The size of the bounce remains key here. If in the early part of next week, we just break down towards these lows, this bounce is not significant enough in relation to this entire drop, guys. And at that point, would not surprise me if we do roll over and seek lower lows, potentially down into the 420, 415 area here. On the weekly, we are still stuck in a weekly downtrend, right? So as long as this daily bounce can't get going a bit further and potentially create a daily uptrend, you will still be in your weekly pullback. For this weekly pullback to be over, need to see the daily uptrend confirmed by the bulls, and then we can start looking and seeing how much of this weekly move we can recapture. But as of now, weekly downtrend still in full control of the bears. Keep an eye, as I was saying, 420 to 415 area is this whole previous area of resistance, which should now be acting as support in this little pocket down here. That's what I'm looking out for. On the monthly, guys, you can see that although we did have the past 2 months being quite negative here, the bulls are still set up quite beautifully, guys. As a matter of fact, of our last recent upswing here, right, anything pretty much above 382 is just looking for a monthly higher low, have some good long-term moving averages in here. So the market still is bullish, guys. I know the MACD is potentially pointing slightly down as well. The MACD potentially pointing slightly down as well. The RSI potentially pointing down as well, but that's normal. We've now had 2 months of pullback, guys. But the bulls are set up nicely. Would not surprise me if in the early 2 weeks of October, we may even find some more pullback here, come right into this previous pocket right here. And that's when we could find some accumulation zones for the bulls to then set us up nicely for an end of the year rally, as seasonality is quite good. So keep an eye on that, guys. But bulls not putting in enough work yet, not out of the woods. So the discounts may continue. Get your buying power ready. QQQ, same thing, right? Even though we had a 0.07 close, we did gap up on the day here, guys, but you can see gap up open went right into the flush for the rest of the day here. So a little bit of pullback here, not to be surprised about that at all. The bears still in control of this entire space here. So it's normal that they will try to sell any rips in the market here. So what do we need to see? Need to see bulls put in more of a bounce. Daily upswing is still not dead, guys, until we don't put in some lower lows than our previous days, right? This daily bounce could still have some legs into it, right? What we need to see here, I need to see them get as close as possible to 371. Get me as close as possible to 371. Could set up for the daily trend change. But as of now, guys, most likely scenario is the lower high, and then can they set the higher low compared to this low? Or will we just roll over and flush into more downside, right? And on the weekly, you can see, guys, that bears are still in full control now of all our major indexes here. We'll look at that in a few. So weekly downtrend is confirmed. The next area of support, guys, on QQQ, there wasn't much support set all the way down here. So the true next area of support really is pretty much in like the 335, the 300, 330 level, right? So it is a pretty significant drop here. Remains to be seen if they will do it, but they do have some space to make that drop happen if technology does continue to pull down, right? So daily downtrend, weekly downtrend, but monthly still looking very healthy, guys. The reason why I select that 330 pocket is because it's right between our two moving averages here. So if QQQ does pull down here, guys, anything above 258 is just a monthly higher low. So much space for the bulls to work with on this pullback here. That's why I say these pullbacks that we're seeing in the market are largely for buying. Why? Because our longer term bulls are in control. Yes, it may take 1 to 2 months to truly get back above here, or 3 months, right, to truly get back above our previous 52-week highs, but we are set up nicely for continuation here. No real red flags on long-term markets as a whole, in my opinion. Now let's move down to financials. Financials here, really not doing a great job at all, guys, down almost 1% again. So the financial bounce is pretty much crushed at this point, right? Already coming back to our $33 lows. Now the bears are in absolute full control of this. We were expecting some resistance coming in this area, this little green box, and that's exactly what happened, right? Pulled into it and then sold off the better part of the day here. So financials not set up that well at all. I don't like the size of this bounce. Would not be surprised if we do continue to roll over, as the fear of higher interest rates for longer do plague banks, because banks make all their money, guys, issuing loans, and there's not many people that want to take out loans when the mortgage rates are 6, 7, 7.5%, right? Even on the commercial side, even on the private loan side. So weekly downtrend is still intact here. Our next level of support will be 32.50. I'll reiterate, if for some reason we continue to pull back in the lower 30 area, 32.31, guys, I will be a buyer of financial indexes at this point. I am in another play, which is my Canadian banking sector, which I like better than the US banking sector because it is more of an oligopoly, meaning that there's only 5-6 names that run this entire country, right? So they don't really have a choice. In the US, there's over 5,000 names that make up the banking sector in the US. So my Canadian banking sector is a bit more consolidated, and I'm building a position in here, but I wouldn't be opposed to throwing a few contracts on the US side down in the lower 30 area. On the monthly, guys, need to watch out now, right? Monthly tightening range here. Need to watch out. Can't really come into a position, guys. If we flush these 31 lows, not going to look very good at all for the potential to really tighten this up, accumulate in this area, and then eventually pop when rates do flatten out and start coming down a little bit into next year, right? So financials probably going to be muted here for quite some time as we alleviate some of the pressure and some of the fears surrounding the most recent hawkishness by the Fed commentary on rates here. But still some space, guys. Anything above 31, right, is just to tighten up this range a bit further. So no red flags as of yet, guys, but there will be red flags should we break 31. Now let's go on to healthcare. Healthcare here as well, just as financials, right, pulling back hard on Friday here. So not able to get much of a bounce going on healthcare at all. That is not very good, guys. Daily downtrend obviously confirmed. And now on the weekly, guys, you can see that this weekly downtrend is getting quite juicy for the bears here. They did flush our 129 area, which was our previous weekly lows here, right? So we did flush it, not able to close too much below it, but we are still below it here, guys. So weekly downtrend confirmed. You have to zoom out to the monthly. Where do we stand on the monthly? Kind of like financials, guys. We're trying to maintain this tightening range. Lose 126, 127 area, guys, and it's going to get dicey for the bulls here. Do not want to see a rollover and really come below this 26 EMA. If you can see, guys, we have not lost this 26 EMA, the orange line here, since pretty much our 2020 lows. And then one time last September, fitting, right? This September as well. And then we lost it ever so briefly in the banking crisis in March. But healthcare, usually known to be quite resilient, but as of now, not catching a bit at all, guys. So keep an eye out on those levels. The 126, guys, is going to be absolutely crucial. I need to see the bulls hold this area, guys. If we start rolling over down here, it's not going to be looking very good, especially for SPY, since healthcare represents a decent weight in there. And now IWM, bounce largely underway here as well, but decent little pullback here on Friday, right? So Friday down another 0.5% on QQQ. On IWM, not satisfied with the size of this bounce, guys. If you pull up the fib on all these bounces, right, the bounces are not high enough to my liking. we're only able to take back about 38% of the move. I need to see 50% or higher to be confident in the bull's capacity to set up for a daily trend change here. So if we keep trending to the lows early next week, guys, it's very possible we just end up with further daily downtrend continuation here, which is the likely move, right? Been an entire massive daily downtrend this entire time. So the likely expected move is still continuation. It's up to the bulls to put in a sizable enough bounce to reverse that. So on the weekly downtrend remains intact as well. We are now heading lower into our support areas here. 172 pocket, lower 170s. I've been saying it all week, guys. If we come down into here, I will definitely be throwing a contract or two at IWM because I do feel that there's a very substantial area of support here between the 170 and 165 area. I'd be very surprised if the bears can really take this and flush this in one shot, guys. We don't have the volatility for it, in my opinion. We don't have the bad macro for it, in my opinion, either, right? So we're going to be taking this one day at a time, guys. But IWM bulls not looking the strongest. I need to see them get up to about 181. And on your monthly chart here, monthly recap here, still trapped in this disgustingly long range, right? It's been almost, about a year and a half at this point, guys, of this entire range here, pretty much trapped in this area. Growth stocks just not in a favorable environment right now, not with rates as high as they are. Growth stocks just cannot perform in this type of environment, guys. It's just not their bread and butter, right? They run usually high amounts of debt. If they don't run high amounts of debt, their only other opportunity is coming to the public markets and issuing more shares, which causes dilution. So pretty much a lose-lose situation for them if they're not profitable companies. And a lot of the companies in IWM, not just because they're small caps, a lot of them, guys, are running heavy leverage, and it's just not the market for it, right? So anything pretty much above 169, guys, is just to tighten up this range ever so further here. But if we do break down, it won't break much of a pattern here, guys. The true breakdown area is going to be that 165. So monthly, not looking too bad, but not looking the best either. And now on your Dow Jones. Dow Jones, what an absolute crush on the Dow Jones Friday, guys. Heck of a gap up open here, but profit taking and selling the entire day, pretty much ruining any shot of a bounce that the bulls had going for them Thursday, right? So very unfortunate, but Dow Jones bulls not able to get it done, guys. Not a significant bounce enough. This give back here really leads me to believe that if the general market doesn't pick it up early in the week, guys, we are just going to flush into new daily downtrend lows here. And if we do that, guys, the weekly downtrend simply continues here. We've now flushed our previous area, 33.7, which is a very important area here. So if the weekly downtrend does confirm, guys, continue, because it's already confirmed, we will be looking lower here into the 32.7 area. And that is the most crucial area. Why? Because that area on the monthly here, guys, represents a very solid area of previous support, guys. Lose that, right? And we start coming back too much into these monthly higher lows, right? This is a nice monthly uptrend that we have going. And now the bears are starting to take back a little much, in my opinion here. I know it's very tight in relation to the grand scheme of things. However, you need to maintain these technical higher highs and higher lows, guys. So if you do flush the 32,700 level, guys, your next guy is going to be the last stand, right? So Dow Jones not looking too bad on the monthly here, but I need to start seeing the bulls start kicking it in gear. I know that they may want to bounce off this 32.7 area and get some stronger bulls from that area here, guys. But I would really like to seeing them play more aggressive defense and not letting the bears just absolutely roll them over. In pretty much 1 week of trading, guys, we've taken it from this level. We've erased pretty much, almost the past 3 months of trading. So really bad. We'll see if October's seasonality can be good for these markets here. So Dow Jones on the monthly, not looking the best. The indexes that look the best on the monthly, guys, is SPY as a whole and QQQ as a whole. But we went through the rest, guys. XLF, not looking the best, tightening range. XLV, not looking the best, tightening range. IWM, stuck in perpetual range as well. And now Dow Jones as well, stuck in a range here. So really need the S&P and QQQ to really hold those monthly lows here. But the markets as a whole, guys, I would say that they look fairly healthy on your longer term timeframes, guys. Keep in mind that the levels of uncertainty in the market are fairly low now, guys. Unless we get hit with some terrible macro, which I'm not expecting. The only real piece of bad data that we could be expecting is a housing slowdown, but that's largely been priced in as of now, and everybody expects it anyways, guys. With rates so high, the housing turnover is going to get quite low. So now let's get into our major tech stocks here, and we'll go over the monthly charts on these as well, right? All right. Okay, so guys, Apple pulling back ever so slightly here on Friday as well. Needed to see them get as close as possible to this 176 area here. I mean, we are still up Trending up here on Friday as well, but not yet close enough to the 176 in my liking. Why do I need that to happen? Need to see an engulfing move to set up with the daily trend change. But as of now, bears still in full control of this little daily downtrend here. So it's up to the bulls to show us, do they have some legs to push this up here? If Apple stays down in this area, guys, I will continue to write options on it. On the weekly, we are still in a weekly downtrend here, still in my sweet spot. So if we do continue to hug this 170 down to 165 area, this is definitely an area where I do want to pick up Apple. Keep in mind, if the more we come down here, let's say we pull into 165, that'll be a nice 16% discount off of your previous 52-week and all-time highs here. On the monthly, guys, Apple looking fairly decent as well. Tons of space above your 124.19 level, which is the low here. And now we're starting to really pull into this previous resistance area, which will now be support, like I said, and then that 160 to 170 range here. So that's where I'm expecting, if Apple does pull back into early October, which is possible, that's where I'm expecting the bulls to really start putting up more of a fight. But you can see on the monthly doing a good job here of upholding your 12 EMA. So potentially might just tail in to the 160 area and then pop back above potentially into November and December. Apple looking very decent on the longer term time frames. So this little buying opportunity here is just that, a nice buying opportunity for Apple. No red flags for the company whatsoever. Now, AMD doing a great job here. AMD, guys, one of our only tech names able to recapture your most recent lower high, right? So lower high, doing a great job of recapturing that. Now pushing back above 105, closing at 102, but they've created enough space, guys. Created enough space with this move to potentially set up for your daily trend change, okay? So that is the most important part that I'm looking out for on AMD. I like that they got back above the 100 psychological level. So we'll see, can the bulls do it and set up for your daily trend change and potentially get back up into this 107 pocket right here? On the weekly here, guys, the weekly downtrend is still confirmed, but you can see that the bulls are putting in a heck of a move. So in the next 2-3 weeks, if even the daily uptrend can be formed here, the bulls can really get it going and set us up with a nice daily uptrend here. And we start pulling back into this 112 area, 110, right? It'll set up even for potentially a weekly trend change as well, something that the bulls haven't had, right? It's been a weekly downtrend ever since June. So key levels coming up on AMD, guys. I like this stock a lot. If we do pull down here to set the daily uptrend here into this lower 98 level, I will be writing options on AMD. Once again, I think I've written options on AMD every single week for the past 4 weeks, and I don't expect that to change because it is in my sweet zone. So I do want to be targeting these lows here with some options next week. AMD looking fairly decent. And on the monthly, guys, on the monthly, we have been looking for the monthly higher low for 4 months now at this point. Anything above 82 is just for a monthly higher low here. Well, it's more like this. Monthly higher low, anything above 82 will just be that. And I like these candle closes, guys. The bears are getting exhausted, potentially due for your trickle up effect, and potentially maintain this monthly uptrend into another leg up leading into the last 3 months of the year. So keep an eye on that on AMD. Amazon looking decent, guys, slightly up here from Thursday as well, pulling back a bit on the day, almost up 1% on the day here. Amazon trying to come back, right? So the news of the FDA lawsuits, guys, right? So they have not been, not the FDA, so the FTC, the news of the FTC lawsuits, guys, right, have not been very kind to Amazon. You can see that Amazon from the highs, guys, we're pulling back pretty much 15-16%, kind of like Apple, but in a very short time span here. So good dip buying opportunity for Amazon here. I did write the 124 puts on Friday. Those ended up worthless, so I pocketed all the premium. We'll see if Amazon comes up again on my little scanner next week as we maintain these low areas here. I need to see more of a bounce by the bulls. Need to see them get up in the 132 area, and then they'll create a decent amount of space to potentially set up for a daily uptrend here. But as of now, the daily bears are in full control here, so we'll see. Will they be able to maintain a potential higher low here, or will they flush into lower lows? On the weekly, guys, Amazon obviously losing your weekly higher lows. Those were pretty much at the 132 area. Losing them now, but acting as a good area of support in this whole 124 range. So what do we need to see? Well, we need to see the Amazon bulls set your daily uptrend again. Then your weekly bounce will be underway. And then we'll see how much of this move can they recapture here. But Amazon really caught in this wide range of trading here pretty much ever since June level. So June levels are a recurring theme in a lot of these names, guys. If Amazon, for ever which reason, we do keep rolling over here in the next few weeks, I will be looking for more options down here into the 118, 115 pocket. And on your monthly time frame here, Amazon bulls with tons of space, guys. Anything above 82 is for a monthly higher low. So Amazon, in my opinion, I am definitely going to be looking to buy the dip on any further Amazon dips in this area because of how much of this move the bulls were able to make here. Very, very healthy chart here to set a monthly higher low for monthly higher highs in the future here, guys. So great dip buying opportunity for me on Amazon, definitely. Now let's move on to Google. So Google here, Google pulling back on the day, almost 1% here, but not losing Thursday's low. So the bounce is still underway here. Decent little bounce by Google here. Nothing too impressive. We did fill the gap here, of course. Excuse me, guys. But, you know, the bulls still have their work cut out for them. Still need to set up the daily trend change, something that we haven't done. But decent little bounce, guys. If you want us to put the fib on that, let's do it right away. So the bounce you can see got above 50%. That is what I like to see. And we did get above our moving averages before getting rejected. So they've created enough space to set up a potential daily trend change. It's not going to be pretty, but they can do it, guys. They have done it in the past, right? You can see something like this right here, right? So going to be looking out for that on Google on the daily. On the weekly, guys, obviously your weekly level is going to be 127, key area of support right down here, right? So if we do lose this over the next few weeks, they will be losing the weekly uptrend here. We will be in weekly consolidation at that point, guys. If we do end up in further weekly consolidation, I'm looking forward to pick up Google in the lower 120s, guys. Give me Google in the 120s to 115s. I'll be buying those all day. Why? Monthlies. Monthly. Anything above 88 at this point is just a monthly higher low. And if we do pull back here into the month of October, send another little candle down this way, guys, I'm definitely a buyer. Why? Because of the size of this bull move, guys. Any dips on Google, I am definitely buying as our longer term bulls are in control. No red flags on the company as well. So that's pretty much it for Google, guys. Remains to be seen. Can the bulls reverse it from here? Or will they roll over, potential in a further downside continuation, roll over this 127 area, fill your previous earnings gap, and find some support in my little pocket here? Remains to be seen, but I will be buying if it goes down there. Meta pulling back decently today as well on the day, 1.23% here. So Meta bulls tried to challenge the bears here, but unable to get it done, guys. I needed to see them break 312. They weren't able to get it done, getting as high as 310 before rolling over here. So Meta still trapped in this really, really ugly range of price action here. The key level for Meta remains 288 all the way down to 277, guys. Why? Because those are your weekly higher lows, right? So need to keep this alive, guys. They have a good chance here of pulling out a tightening range, but if we come back too much, guys, it might look like Apple or Microsoft and flush into a weekly downtrend. If we do flush into a weekly downtrend here, guys, it's not that big of a deal. Why? Monthly. Once again, guys, these monthly charts are so key to really take the nerves off of our shoulders, right? And understanding who really is in control here. The bears have all the short terms now, yes, but the bulls control the long terms, and those are far more important in my opinion. If we do continue to pull back here on the monthly, my buy zone for Meta may be a bit low for all you guys, but it's all the way down to 232 to 200, right? So if for some which reason we get some bad news on Meta, bad earnings or whatnot, because their cost control wasn't as good as they touted it out to be, well, I will be a buyer of Meta if we do pull back into this area. But for now, guys, no real red flags, guys. Haven't even lost the previous monthly lows, but if you lose that 277, that's what it's going to end up being. As of now, just sideways monthly consolidation. Bulls looking very healthy, even if we do pull back, guys, very healthy. Now, Microsoft doing a great job here as well, pushing up on the day, 0.67%, but giving a little bit back here. So gap up open into some profit taking here, tagging our 12 EMA, not enough of a bounce. You guys can see, right? If we do start rolling over early to next week, would not be surprised if the daily downtrend does continue into another leg. If the daily downtrend does continue, guys, I will be definitely a buyer of Microsoft in this pocket. Very, very good company. One of my favorite companies in the world at this point, right? I'd like to see, however, the bulls pull up into the 325 area, even as high as 328. If you get that next week, then we could really set up for your daily trend change here. On the weekly, Microsoft still in a weekly downtrend as we did flush our previous weekly lows. Not that bad though, guys, but if we do pull back in the next few weeks for some which reason, I'm definitely writing some options here. Microsoft 307 all the way down to 287 is a beautiful buying opportunity in my opinion. Why? Monthly. Monthly bulls are in full control. Anything above 220, just looking for your monthly higher low. This is a massive bull flag, a beautiful bull flag if I do say so myself. Bulls not giving back too much at all of this move in the past 3 months, guys. They could have given back a lot more, but really cutting super shallow into this move here. So I'm going to be looking for your confluence, my little pocket here, which is your previous resistance areas, right? Previous whole resistance area. And you do have the moving averages down here. So monthly looking very healthy. The dips here are for buying for later in 2023 and into 2024. I think Microsoft will have no problem because they do have tremendous pricing power. Now, let's move on to Tesla here, or sorry, got to go over NVIDIA, can't forget them. NVIDIA here, Bull's doing a great job of pulling up 1%, right? But this bounce here is not that big of a bounce, guys, in my opinion. Need to get as close as 461 as possible. They are doing some decent job here, guys, of pulling up all the way to 440, right? So if you pull the fib on it, guys, they have pumped up to about 618 level. So the Bulls, although it doesn't look that good, have set themselves up for the potential daily trend change. So we'll see if they can carry that move into the next 2 weeks here. But for any which reason, we do roll over, guys. Your 400 area is absolutely crucial. Roll over the 400 here, and it will be a loss of the weekly uptrend. If you lose the weekly uptrend, no problem at all, guys. NVIDIA has tons of space to give back, right? Anything pretty much above 104 is a monthly higher low. If we do pull back on the monthly, guys, if we flush this monthly low into October for some which reason here, well, I'll be looking out for your previous all-time highs as your next area of support here. And it coincides with the 12-month EMA as well. You can see so much space off the EMAs, guys. So if NVIDIA does pull back, that is my key area, and I will be a buyer of NVIDIA down there. But for now, guys, we're going to let the bulls do their thing. We'll see, can they set up the daily trend change, or will we roll over the weeklies as well? Now, on to Tesla. So Tesla here doing a good job here, guys, of holding up gains 1.5% to the upside here. Tesla bounce is underway. We will see how close to 280 we can actually get this bounce going here. I'd like to see them get all the way up to 260. Get up to 260, guys. I think they set themselves up nicely for the daily trend change here. But anything under that, guys, and the bears will probably be able to send it back to the lows, and then it will remain to be seen. Can they hold the 235s? If we can't hold the 235s, it ends up into further daily downtrend. And at that point, your weekly consolidation will continue. If we do continue the weekly consolidation, my sweet spot, 230 down to 210. So that is the area I'll be looking for Tesla to hold. But you can see that all of these stocks, a lot of them are coming down into my sweet spots here. And on the monthly, guys, monthly Tesla bulls are looking very, very, very healthy, if I do say so myself. Anything above pretty much 160 is just going to be looking for that monthly higher low. Beautiful bull flag right here in my sweet spot, right? So if we do continue to pull back, I do think that this represents a nice buying opportunity for some Tesla shares, as I do think the bulls are set up nicely for a third leg into this monthly move here. But we do have earnings here coming up in pretty much 3 weeks. So it wouldn't surprise me here if we do kind of stay tight and fairly muted into earnings, especially if the markets as a whole don't move too much. But great job by the bulls here, guys. Not too much to say, but just not enough space for me, right? If we roll over in the early next weeks, well, wouldn't be surprised if we do come down in here, and that's where I'll be writing the most of my options next week. Now, the last one's Palantir and PayPal. Palantir having a beautiful week last week, guys. Can't complain, right? They really had a tremendous rally off these lows here, saving that, and now engulfing your previous bear move. So this is actually very nice to see. The bulls have now set themselves up nicely for a daily trend change. So we will see once this move tops out, right? Could even keep going. Can we set up for the daily trend change? That becomes the most likely scenario since we've engulfed the entire move. So Palantir bulls looking healthy on the short term, and on the weekly as well, have now engulfed the weekly move as well, closing above our 1620 area that I was looking for here, guys, closing right below it, but we did push above it midweek, right? So looking very, very, very good. Happy with the bulls' work on this. Remains to be seen if they can change that daily up for me. And on the monthly bulls just holding on, guys. Anything above $7 pretty much is just a monthly higher low. So bulls doing a great job at defending this lower 1375 area. Beautiful job here. So we'll see if Palantir can maintain this little bull flag going here into potentially their earnings here, right, in November. And then that's where we may get the pop as they release better and better earnings. And if they do give another positive quarter here of positive EPS, they may be considered for S&P inclusion here in the next 2 quarters. So big, big news on Palantir. And lastly, PayPal here. PayPal not doing too bad of a job here, guys, but this week has pretty much been a muted week, really consolidating at our lows down here. Bulls not putting in much of a bounce whatsoever, right? So this is kind of like a bear flag. No bounce whatsoever. Really gives me the impression, guys, that any negative movement on the stock or the markets could send this into our lower areas. If we do come down to our lower areas, I will be targeting 55 as a likely area to potentially send an average down in the form of 1 or 2 options contracts for me. So we'll see how that goes, but not satisfied with the size of the bounce, guys. Bulls really need to give me a better bounce here into 61, and then I'll be confident in saying we could have a chance at the daily uptrend. Weekly also looking very, very, very weak, guys. Weekly downtrend just maintains at this point here. So until the bulls start a daily uptrend, can't say that the weekly bounce is started. So we will be looking for potential further continuation if we do lose those daily lows. And on the monthly, guys, nothing to say on the monthly, right? We are still in a massive monthly downtrend at this point. We're trying to maintain the 57 area, but not looking too good, guys. This is going to need some good news and a few earnings cycle to really transform this into somewhat of a monthly uptrend back up to $100. On the monthly, guys, PayPal not looking great, but at this point, guys, time machine prices back to August 2017, a full 6 years of data just erased in this stock, but valuation is very, very low, and I do like PayPal at these levels as a whole. And now lastly, guys, my portfolio here. So take a look. Friday, even though the markets were down, we did have a slightly up day here. You guys can see that we ended the day up from Thursday back up to around 34.76%. So fairly decent, outperforming the NASDAQ here, which is sitting at 27. And then against the S&P 500, you can also see that we're still up 34.76, obviously. And the S&P 500 is only up about 11.68. So we'll see how we continue to perform throughout the year. But we do have a lot of buying power leading up into next week, guys, right? So you can see the Amazon 124s ended worthless. So pretty much position expired. Amazon on Friday ending above 124. You can see that right here, right? So 127, we captured all of the premium. So very, very happy about that. American Express 149s also ending worthless, guys, even though American Express pulled back heavily on Friday, ending above 149. So that premium as well is worthless, guys. You can see that American Express, I got $41 for that. And Amazon earlier in the week, we got $57 for that one, right? So both of those we pocket, no biggie. CSIQ 25s, we actually got assigned on those as CSIQ did come down here below your previous level of 25. So now my break even on CSIQ, guys, is all the way down 28.34. Not so far off the stock price, guys. I know we're continuing to trend lower, but I'm bringing down my average cost. We now hold 400 shares of CSIQ. If I move my big head over, you'll be able to see that. 400 shares of CSIQ. This average cost is not correct. That's only the shares. I have written some covered calls on them, of course. So that's why my break even is a bit lower now at 28.34. So good job on my end of lowering my cost basis here. CSIQ still one of my favorite solar plays in terms of valuation. And the Philip Morris 91s as well expired worthless here. So Philip Morris ending above 91 on Friday, 92.58. So you guys can see that we captured all the premium on those. We actually got 41 cents. Can you see it here? I have to move myself again. 41 cents on the Philip Morris's here on Friday. And then on Friday, we did close a few positions as well here, guys. You will see that we did buy back a few stocks here in the end. So you can see that we did buy back our Apple 170s. This was pretty much an autofill, right? So Apple, we wrote them earlier in the week for 83 cents. We closed them at 90% profit plus, right? At 8 cents on Friday. The AstraZeneca 66s were closed for 2 cents. We wrote those on Monday here for 28 cents. So 95% profit on those as well. Very, very happy. These were auto closed as well. Then we had the Enphase auto close, right? 9:30 right at the open. I had my take profit set. Enphase, we wrote those for 56 cents. You can see that right here. Closed on Friday for only 5 cents. Very, very good. And that's pretty much it, guys, I think. Oh, and the Teslas, the 227.5s, right? So they were also closed. This one I manually closed midway through the day because we're doing fairly well on them. Tesla, you can see that I wrote them for 70 cents, closed them at 8 cents as a whole, right? So we did make 2 plays on Tesla, closed the Teslas at 70, the 230s I had written for about $1.60 last Friday, not this past Friday, the one before. So all in all, guys, we did a great job here of farming premium on the week. And you can see that now we pretty much have full buying power, no positions, just got assigned on 200 more shares of CSIQ. Not that big of a position for me personally, right? It's only about a $12,000 position in the grand scheme of things, guys. Not very big position at all. So looking forward to coming into next week with a lot of dips on technology, and we have full buying power. So going to take advantage of it. So that's pretty much it for today's video, guys, and the monthly market recaps. As a whole, just remember, long-term bulls are in control of all of these charts, especially our major tech names. So now's the time, build your watch list, get your buying power ready, see the companies that you want to own, guys. There's a lot of companies with some great discounts on the markets right now here. And if they get even better, they're going to be even juicier levels here to be picking up some of these companies, guys. So all of your major tech names here are at very nice current price points here, especially off the 52-week highs. So just keep in mind that your long-term bulls are in control, even though the short-term dailies and the short-term weekly charts are in control by the bears. But if seasonality is any indication here, right, we may be in for a very nice October, November, December, and 2024, as I do personally believe that the threats of a recession are pretty much hot air at this point. It will not be as bad as the media is making out to be. So that's it for the video, guys. If you liked it, please consider liking the video. It really helps for the YouTube algorithm here. And also, if you're new, consider subscribing to the channel here. We do these daily market updates pretty much every day. And if, as always, if you have any questions, guys, whatsoever, macro, options, stocks, anything at all, leave them down in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. So take care. Hope you guys are having a beautiful weekend, and peace.